So we will be talking about chicken a little bit today and spinach, and trying to keep our chicken and our spinach separated so that we don't create any unsafe conditions in a food service environment. I'm Kevin O'Boyle. I'm the lone Metro Stores nerd here today. I'm the Director of Marketing, and we're getting ready for Food Safety Month. And there's a lot of new stuff that Metro's come out with recently that are certainly very important to food safe practices. We're going to do a quick refresher on not on food safety basics, but really on the real specifics and where our products fit in to really help people. And we're going to talk about one part of the process that people might overlook, which is time. You know, you don't plan for certain aspects of time that create these unsafe food conditions, and we're going to try to break that down a bit today. So we're making some assumptions that if you're watching this, you don't need Metro to teach you about the basics of food safety and the 7 HACCP principles. You don't need, you've heard enough about COVID and getting your restaurant ready and how you need to up your game there. I believe you're here because you want to hear from us about, okay, what do the storage nerds have to say about the specific storage and workflow tips that can help me operate my facility more safely? So that's what today is going to focus on. So this isn't a food service, food safety topic in general, but more how it applies to storage, prep, and workflow, which is where Metro spends a lot of our time. So in the similar theme of Family Feud, we're going to walk through what do we believe the 5 worst enemies of safe food storage are. Number 5, wet nesting. Number 4, bad or no or a limited cleaning of the areas that need to be cleaned. Number 3, cross-contamination. Number 2 being temperature, and making sure that food is held at the temperature it's supposed to be held at. But the worst, and maybe because this is the sneakiest of enemies, is this time-temperature relationship, and we're going to dig into this a bit more today. You know, so Steve, and just so you see Steve's face, he's very concerned. Look at all these things that can happen. So if you don't take these things into account at your plant facility, bad things will happen. So we're going to keep going. Why does bacteria grow? Well, it's because of Fat Tom. Well, not necessarily that Fat Tom, and has nothing to do with that Fat Jerry, but Fat Tom is just that acronym that helps us remember that bacteria grows when there's food at acidity temperature, time, oxygen, or moisture. And there's that time variable in there. So what is this time thing we're getting at? Well, just because of how bacteria operates, it can grow exponentially if it's at the wrong temperature for a long enough period of time. So in general, food prep practices, you know, it's, what do they say? Well, only take what you need and then prep food and return to the cooler quickly. But in real life, that's very difficult to make that happen. We know the stress that we're putting on people in the back of the house and how much work they have to do. And then when there's a customer coming in with a customer issue or something else on an emergency basis happens, and how much we're making these people multitask. There are so many task interruptions in that prep procedure. And, you know, normally they're working on a prep table, which is stationary, and many walk-in coolers are too small for people to prep in those coolers, so they end up prepping in a dry storage area or in another area of the facility. So if the goal, this ideal state that we talk about, is refrigerate, prep, refrigerate, how often does something stay in the danger zone where it's not being refrigerated? Let's say maybe 10 minutes. But what is the reality of what's happening? So we're refrigerating, we're prepping. Oh, wait, I've been interrupted. How long am I waiting for? Have I lost track of the time of whatever? I'm going to go back. I'm going to finish my job. Oh, I'm going to interrupt it again. Okay, now I'm going to go and put something back in the fridge. How do we plan for these disruptions? It's very difficult to plan for these disruptions. And in often cases, the labor and the storage and the work facility isn't set up to handle for the interruptions that are going to happen. So these become risk points in a procedure. These task interruptions create food safety risks. Moving on from time and temperature, I'm going to fly through the Family Feud board here real quick. Like, obviously, we know that we need to keep workspaces sanitary, clean, and we need to keep different types of food separate. Keeping those raw and cooked food separate is harder. There's no prep spaces are crowded and people are on top of each other, and it's a fast-paced environment. And then the time and effort to clean and sanitize after every turnover, mistakes can be made. You know, this is a 5-step process where you have to scrape, wash, rinse, sanitize, air dry. But think about this is a lot of time that it takes to do this between all these prep tasks. How rigorous do you need to be to make sure that people don't skip these steps? Isn't there a better way? Moving on from cleaning, I'm just going to talk about cross-contamination in a cooler a little bit with a quick funny video.
This is Brett. It's his first day in the kitchen and he's going to learn how to stock the cooler. First up is poultry. Whoa, dude, not so fast. Poultry always goes on the bottom shelf. There you go, great job. Next up, raw meat, which should always go above poultry. No, man, the shelf above poultry. Come on. There you go. Now on to the produce. This will go on the top shelf since it's ready for consumption. Next up is fish. This will go right above the raw meats. Great job, Brett. Doing good. Now we can place the dairy products like milk and cheese on the shelf above the fish. And last but not least, cooked meats. Any idea where this goes? There you go. Great job. Now you've demonstrated proper cooler storage for a safer environment for your kitchen's food.
So we do spend a lot of time in coolers, and that again is the ideal state where everything is marked and organized and all, but the reality is that we do see different things. And Metro spends a lot of time in walk-in coolers, and and wire shelving is still the predominant product that is used in a walk-in. And it's good for a couple of things. There's good airflow, and if it is green epoxy shelving, or Metro Seal style shelving like what we sell, it has got antimicrobial agents baked into it. But we all know that wire mat surfaces are very difficult to clean, and it's very difficult to get those things out of a walk-in so they can be power washed, etc. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge that we're all aware of. Moving on over to the cleaning side of the restaurant. So we've talked about prep, we've talked about storage. Now let's talk about cleanup. Some restaurants are blessed with a flight type dish machine, and it's a great asset if you have in your facility because of all the cleaning and sanitizing you have to do, it's being handled by these machines that can do 180-degree virus killing water. So some great marketing by some of our partners in the industry here to help keep people safe. But many of us, are dealing with 3-compartment sinks. And there's a lot of different challenges and a much more involved process in a 3-compartment sink. And this is where Metro gets involved a lot more often. Again, we have this process, and then there's this air dry step, and you wash all the stuff. Where is the space to air dry? Have we planned for the space to air dry? And when you don't plan for the space to air dry, what happens? You end up in these scenarios where you have all these pots and pans, etc., all stacked on top of each other. Water can get captured, which creates that fat tom environment for bacteria to grow. Airflow is needed, but planning for the space to do this up front is very difficult. We recognize that. So I flew through some of the problems. We're here to talk about some solutions that Metro has to help our operators get through and improve their HACCP processes. One of the best products that Metro has for this is its PrepMate. It is designed looking at all the pain points that restaurants experience in the prep process, and it's optimizing for so many of those. But maybe the best thing that it's doing is food safety. So much food safety considerations went into the design and engineering of this product. So for those of you who might not be familiar, what is a PrepMate? It looks like a traditional Metro cart. You got a couple shelves and some posts, but then there's this different kind of work surface up top. What is that? Well, on a PrepMate, the cutting board is the work surface. Your hotel pans that hold your chopped ingredients are held underneath for efficiency, but the core value proposition here is that it's not a fixed work surface that has to be sanitized. When you are done cutting that, you take that cutting board off and it goes in a place where it can be cleaned and you can keep prepping, dramatically reducing turnover time. So there's a major league improvement in prevention of cross-contamination there. Additionally, we talked about time temperature abuse earlier. This prep station is mobile. So if you get interrupted, this can be wheeled back into a refrigerated zone to keep it safe until the interruption is over. Then you can resume your prep activity. It's designed with special total lock casters, so you have the stability you need for a prepping operation, but mobility when you need it. So it creates personal space, safe space, and mobile prep space to help your restaurant achieve its food safety goals. Why is mobility so important? Just to make sure we talked about all these interruptions and how they increase the time in the danger zone for food. But with a mobile PrepMate, you have the opportunity to return that. So just before you deal with the task interruption, take the food, put it back in the cooler, deal with the interruption, then resume your prep process and then refrigerate. A stationary prep table will not help you do that. They're not going to pick up the chopped ingredients, pack everything up, schlep all that stuff back to the cooler. A mobile prep station can help prevent time temperature abuse. There's additional accessories that were entered in the product to help. There is additional capacity on board for 3 additional cutting boards. It's to help you reduce turnover time, inhibit cross-contamination, and so that you're always working with a clean and sanitized work surface. So rather than having to stop everything you're doing, sanitizing the whole station, you can quickly get rid of one cutting board, get a clean one in, and you can keep working. Also, which is going to keep more food out of that time temperature abuse zone. Additionally, well, what about those utensils? There's other ingredients like one here that can incorporate, and in this example, it's the Sanjamar Clean Pail buckets. So you can sanitize and clean your utensils and knives quickly and conveniently while you're doing your work to reduce sanitizing time as well. What do I do with these when I'm done? Because it is mobile, there's lots of places in your facility where you could tuck it away. You could tuck it away under a prep station. You could tuck it away under a docking station in your cooler. It's small and modular enough that it can fit in whatever spaces. Prepman comes in a couple of sizes, 30, 36, and 48-inch length. So get the right size and find a space for it to go. Moving on from prepping, we talked about cleaning. So we talked about the air dry space above a 3-compartment sink. That is a very useful wall that you can use to air dry your stuff so that you can prevent wet nesting and prevent bacteria growth. It's also great for utensils. Off to the side of the sink, you could put 2 smart wall grids next to each other and hang all those utensils so they don't have to sit in a bin. Instead, they can hang and air dry. Air drying is your friend when it comes to food safety. An example of a couple of off-the-shelf kits that we sell that are pre-configured. And we also saw a couple examples of all the sheet pans and all the big pots and pans that need to be dried. We have several different versions of specialized drying racks that are high capacity that give you the proper way to maintain airflow so these things can dry to eliminate wet nesting. And we have a new model, which is the PR48 VX4. It's got a drip tray in the bottom to catch water and also prevent slips and falls. So Brett gave us that great instruction earlier for safe food storage. Just as a small thing, color coding goes a long way to help your people put things in the right place. A small investment in colored shelf markers will do a lot for your food safety program and ensuring adherence to that. But one of the most important things in your cooler is buy a shelf that's easy to clean. Metro has a number of, so obviously our legacy and our history is wire shelving, but we've obviously innovated well beyond that. We have several different variations of shelving that have removable plastic mats that are very easy to clean. The mats and the posts all have microban embedded in them to prevent the growth of antimicrobials. And this particular unit, Super Erecta Pro, it's wire shelving that you're used to, same strength, same construction, except with a removable plastic mat shelf. This thing comes with a 15-year warranty, which is against rust and corrosion, which is more than enough for most facilities in the country. So we talked about being easy to clean. This is what that shelf looks like underneath. It's still got that same snake-based wireframe structure that people are used to, that they trust the strength and stability of. The mat also prevents chipping from hotel pans and polycarbonate totes. It's strong. You take the mats off, you run them through the dish machine, and you put them back on, and you are clean and ready to go, and your food safety practice is humming. So, yes, you can clean Metro Pro shelving. It is easy to clean, and we're going to do a quick video to show you that.
We're here today to test the durability and cleanability of Metro shelving. If you don't have it, you need to get it. Now let's see what Metro Masher has to say about that. Time for breakfast! What's next? Talk about a banana split! It's happy hour, let's make some wine! Woo, that was cool.
Tomato, tomato. You decide. A massive burger coming right up. It's real dirty. It's super dirty. And it's ready for more.
All right, now let's clean up.
So that's why, we're really pushing hard that Super Erecta Pro is the new standard in wire shelving for the industry. It's cleanable, it's super cleanable, and more rust resistant than ever before. So we encourage people, if you've been out there, if you've been speccing MetroSeal 3 shelving for a while, Super Erecta Pro is the new walk-in cooler product for you. We have more other lines for the walk-in. If you're looking for a little more performance, we have Max Q with a 20-year warranty and adjustability. And if you're looking for that fully risk-free, rust-proof option, we have Metro Max 4, which is all polymer and has a lifetime warranty against rust and corrosion in the walk-in. So if you do want to learn more, stay tuned. Food Safety Month is coming. We're launching a new brochure that's going to have all these solutions, and we'll have more collateral for you to learn more. We still have our docking station and prep station promo going on right now, so check this stuff out here. Next week, we're talking about hot food to-go stations. Sorry, that'll be 2 weeks from now, September 3rd, so don't miss out on that. And with that, I will jump to the Q&A. For those people who are looking, just some quick bonus content before we go to the Q&A. Some of these will be other items that are in the brochure. Metro also has a large line of hot holding cabinets. Insulation helps keep food in that safe zone. So between our hot holding cabinets, our Mighty Light line, and our Mighty Light heater to extend the holding time in Mighty Lights, and also our new hot to go pickup station. Metro House, in addition to, most people know us as a shelving company, which works on organization and fixtures, we also have a broad line of heated holding products, which are also very important to safe food holding also. So just a quick plug for that stuff. So with that, thank you, and I will jump to the Q&A.